Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for this time. You have this spider card and this gazelle card. I'll show you again in a minute. But the gazelle card is about kind of like life speeding up or things picking up pace in your life. It's kind of funny, because I feel for whatever reason with that spider card, I feel like you've been very busy already. That spider has created that web that we see on the card, and it's like it's already done all the work, right? So it's like you've already done a lot of work. But I also feel that you are like manifesting more work into your life. I kind of feel like this is going to be work that you want to do, though. It's not, this is not a bad thing. And here you go right here, your center card. The center card in this 9-card spread that I use is the most important card, and you have the 8 of Wands. So the 8 of Wands is kind of like the card of life speeding up or things, picking up pace. So I don't necessarily know that you're going to be like super busy or, if you have been busy already. If you're like, I don't think this is necessarily saying like, oh, you have no time, or something like that. But I just get this feeling, with these 2 cards here that, things, oh, never mind, that's not going to work here, Taurus. Give me a second. So I just get the feeling that you've already put a lot of work into something. You've been laying the groundwork with that, spider card, and now things are kind of picking up pace. So, I kind of just get this, things moving forward in a much faster direction here. The spider kind of represents, a process as well. So, developing some sort of process or, creating templates for everything would probably be a really good idea for you, or following a process so that you know what you're doing. You have yourself showing up in the first position. Whenever you show up as yourself, this puts you in a position of power and strength, and it really allows you to get what you want from the reading. So I love when people especially show up in the first position or the center. I think those are kind of like the 2 best positions. Even the, the very last position in a 9-card spread like this would be a really, great position. But the first position is kind of like how you enter the reading, and so you are entering this reading as yourself, which is great. You have the 5 of Pentacles. I get this like sense that you need to look at where something is missing in your life. And this is like not a bad or a good thing. I think this is more, it's like what, are there certain aspects of your life that you're ignoring that would feel better if you were to fulfill those desires or needs or the things that you want? And it's like this is a rebalancing game, is what's popping into my head with the 5 of Pentacles. Like there are certain things that need rebalancing. If you've only been working, it's like maybe it's time for fun, or maybe it's time to go on a date or meet a new person or, whatever. Whatever is missing for you, it's going to be different for all of you. And again, I don't think this is like bad or good. I think that this is more saying, approaching things in balance and filling up all your buckets is what's important. With this 5 of Pentacles, you have the King of Wands. Yeah, I really feel like there's like a fire that's kind of growing inside of you. It's a pretty powerful reading. There is a little bit of love here, but I do, as I always say, I think love is always available to us. But, as usual with you, Taurus, this is a very, a much more big picture reading. I think it's more about kind of like your energy, the things that you're working on and creating, the things that you want to do in your life or, the things that you want to create. And I think I just kind of get the feeling that that's what you're more focused on maybe, or that's what you're more interested in focusing on at this time. It's kind of like building fires that stay lit, kind of like doing things that you desire more. So pretty powerful. Let's see, with the King of Pentacles, you have the Devil. You have the Devil twice here. I actually kind of feel like you could be attracting a Capricorn. So if you're interested in love, then, that's a definite possibility. I do think it's a great time to stay healthy as well. So, I would avoid anything that's affecting your health or your mental health or any of that stuff. The Devil can be an energy vampire as well. And again, I don't think tarot has to be like super dramatic, right? So this might not be a big deal. This might just be whatever the 5 of Pentacles is. It's like if you're only working and you're not filling your fun bucket or your love bucket or whatever, then technically what you're working on is like an energy vampire. It's draining your energy from all your buckets, and you're not filling those buckets, right? And I think that's really like the key takeaway here in this part of the reading. With the 5 of Pentacles, you have the 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, like what's worth it, what's not worth it. With the 7 of Pentacles, we are analyzing what we are doing and we have to decide like what things are worth my energy, what things are not worth my energy. Or, are there things in life where I could put my energy that would give me more energy that would make me overflow, right? Like I always say, doing these tarot readings makes me overflow. By the time I'm done with my readings, I always have more energy than I started with. So, it's like, can you find things that do that? But also, my hobbies, things that I do for fun, those things also do the same thing. We need to kind of balance that out. With the King of Wands, you have the King of Pentacles. Like I said, the fire is building inside of you, and I really feel that you are kind of like doing more of what you desire. And you could be kind of growing your desires, or you could be working more on doing, kind of creating more desire in your life, which I think would be a good idea. Also, again, if there are things that kind of make you overflow, I would do more of those things as well. You have this long road card. It says, great distance, long waiting, patience, slow growth, development, pathway, long-term planning. You are probably planning for the future or doing a lot of planning for the future. And you have this card. It says, manifest your desires, creation, power, resourcefulness, creativity. So I think you are also kind of like manifesting more things. I think when we manifest something, we like discover a process and we should probably do it again, right? So I really feel your readings have been a lot about process. I'm pretty sure you've had, the spider spirit with me before in the past as well. So if you, discover a process that works in your business or your career, I would do it again, or I would try to find things that are repeatable. Because repeatable things are way more easy than not knowing what works, right? So, I always talk about this because it totally changed my life. I read the book. It's called The E-Myth by Gerber. And in that book, he basically, it's about business, right? Where he talks about how you should come up with like basically repeatable processes that you can document. And, you should be able to give a notebook basically to a person, and they should be able to duplicate your business based off your processes. But I believe, when I read that book, I started doing it in other areas of my life. Like I started documenting things that were working and I just repeated them and it's changed my life. So, again, I think that doing something like that, as nerdy as it sounds, I would do it. And I can't keep up with anything, so if I can do it, you can do it. You have the devil again. I really feel this is just talking about balance in your reading. You have the Eight of Wands, so things are speeding up for you. And I would keep moving towards speed with the Eight of Wands. Sometimes I feel like the Eight of Wands is like a train, It's like it's going by and you can jump on that train or you can stay right where you are. So I think that it's super important that, again, if you find processes or, things that you're working on that are repeatable, that kind of create certain levels of success for you, that you keep doing those things because they're leading you in a direction. The Eight of Wands is a focus. Those wands are all pointing in one direction, so I think that you need to pay attention to the direction you're going in and make sure that everything that you do is pointing in that same direction, right? So, does everything you do add up to one big goal or one big dream, or is it getting you closer to a big dream? I also think, again, there is something here. This is my card of socializing, so I think there's something here in this reading about, again, filling that fun bucket. Doing things with friends, spending time with people you care about, talking to people you care about, all that could just really kind of recharge your batteries. You have the Five of Swords. I think there's a risk you're about to take that you've been thinking about for a while. It's very clear to me. We go to the Two of Wands here. That Two of Wands, he's like standing in a comfort zone and he's looking out into the world, but he's not like looking at the world, He's looking at his world right in front of him, but there's, something bigger for you is what I feel with that Two of Wands. I feel like it's saying there's more to your story, and if you take a risk with the Five of Swords, I think you're going to discover, what that is. With the Devil, you have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, definitely guard your energy as well. Of course, Seven of Wands is a card of like putting up boundaries or having boundaries against things that are toxic in your life. So if there's anything that you're dealing with that is toxic or that's, controlling you or causing problems, I would make sure to draw a line in the sand. Seven of Wands is my card of drawing a line in the sand and telling people, or with your actions or your attention, you're not going to come past this point. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Something has been like a little bit too slow. Knight of Pentacles with the Eight of Wands. Knight of Pentacles is, slow and steady progress, but he's being too cautious. And I immediately got risk on the Five of Swords, so I think it's time to like take some bigger risks that are going to, bring a lot of attention to whatever it is that you do in your life. And the Knight of Pentacles is, just kind of like overthinking things. He's actually the only knight in the tarot that's not moving. So I think for a lot of you, this is saying it's time to get moving on something. That could be a little risky. With the Five of Swords, you have the Page of Pentacles. Probably something new that you're going to have to learn about. Fear is just a lack of education, right? So if there's something that you are fearing, we have the moon here, which could be fear, then I think that whatever you are fearing at this time, it's just because you haven't educated yourself enough about whatever it is. So it's like maybe you want to start something like a business or a relationship, and I feel like this is saying if you just learn about whatever the situation is, you will easily overcome, whatever the hesitation is here, right? So I think that learning and educating yourself would be a good idea. Next, in the area of the future, by the way, I didn't say this, but we're doing past, present, future. You have this rhino spirit. It says, overcome any obstacle. You have a mouse spirit. It says, tend to the small things. I think the mouse spirit is talking about what we talked about the whole entire reading, that you need to make sure you're doing the little things that add up to, better energy or feeling better or more fun. So pay attention to that. I think you'll easily be able to overcome anything that is coming your way. And, again, if you're fearing certain obstacles, or if you're worried that certain things aren't going to work out for you, or certain things aren't going to go the way you want them to go, I feel like this rhino spirit is saying don't worry about it. Things are going to go exactly according to plan. And that's all you need to know. Things are going to work out and it's going to be fine. You have the Four of Wands, the Moon, and the Two of Wands. The Four of Wands is a card of marriage, of course, so if you want to get married, there could be a person coming in for you. I really feel this is talking about kind of, I wouldn't really say this is a transformation, but these people are celebrating on the other side of these Four of Wands, and so it kind of represents needing to undergo a transformation, or needing to complete one thing so you can have something better in your life. And I think it's interesting as well that we also have kind of two pillars on the moon card, So I think that there is a transformation that you could have if you wanted to, but you're going to have to release one thing. The Four of Wands is really a finish line card. This right here, it kind of looks like a finish line, and it says you have to complete one thing so you can have something else. We have the moon, and the moon is about completing your journey in your reading. And that's not really, those are the words I'm getting here, by the way, on the moon card. It's like there's some sort of journey that you are completing. There are these mountains in the background here on the moon card, and I feel like you need to kind of move towards something. Funny enough, the moon is also about balance. There's this, dog and the wolf or the dog and the coyote, whichever you prefer. And, it kind of represents your domestic side and your wild side. So I really feel the whole reading is talking about, kind of balancing out the two sides of yourself and making sure that you are in balance. We also have two pillars right here on the Two of Wands. So what is behind him here is complete. This wand here stands on its own, and he's grabbing this new wand in front of him. And that new wand could be a new direction or a new idea. And so I feel like what you have been working on is complete, what you have created so far is done. And now it's time to get to the next stage, or now it's time for you to, kind of bring something to the next level. And that's what I feel like you're doing here. Here with the Two of Wands, it's like you're taking something to the next level. Let's see. With the Four of Wands, you have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords is resting, relaxing, recovering. We talked about this whole time, that I think it would be an amazing time for you to kind of recharge your batteries or for you to get some healing. I also feel that sometimes if we're only working or, if we're only focusing on something that is hard in our life, then we're not seeing the blessings. And normally on the Four of Swords, there's a person who's blessing another person in the stained glass window. It's almost like you have to, it would be a good time to stop and smell the roses. It would be a good time for you to kind of, examine all the blessings that you do have in your life. And then, it would be a good time for you to practice gratitude for those blessings and then, and then kind of get to work or whatever's going on here. With the moon, you have the King of Swords. This is untapped potential. That's not really what this means, but the words I'm getting here are untapped potential or something like that. There could be a person who is smarter than you or who knows more than you about something, and I think that there's more, there. I don't even know where this is going, so, there could be a mentor or a person you look up to that really could help you, especially for those of you that are trying to get a job, or if you're trying to improve your business or whatever you're trying to do. It's almost like there is a person, place, or a thing that could provide a lot of insight. And, I would just look at the smart people in your life and think to yourself who can help me on my journey? And I would tap into that potential, or I would tap into that person, right? With the Two of Wands, you have the Queen of Pentacles. We have the King and Queen of Pentacles here, so I do feel a little bit of love. Again, those two are divine counterparts. I do like those two as divine counterparts. They represent two people who really want to be together. They represent two people who really will put in the work and make things happen. So this could be good for love. But with it could be a Capricorn clearly, because you have the Devil twice plus Queen of Pentacles. And, it's funny that the Two of Wands, he has the world in his hands and, the world is Capricorn. So, there definitely could be a Capricorn coming in for you. You have this innovation card. I think innovative ideas are where it's at for you here, Taurus. So like coming up with new, unique ways of doing things is what's going to be the most helpful, with this energy. You have this idealism card. Like nothing will be perfect at this time. I think that it's like a time where you have to get messy. It's a time where you have to experiment and play, like I said, and maybe not take things too seriously. So whatever you're working on in your life, whether it's you or a business or your career, like don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to, get messy and, explore. And by the way, this is 1111. I didn't even notice that, but both of these cards here are card number 11 if you can. If it's not too shiny, but there you go. This is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, by the way. You have this Charity card. Yeah, blessings coming in for you for sure. The Four of Swords can represent blessings, and this can represent receiving blessings from the universe. You have this Influence card. I would be careful if you're meeting a new person. Every single reading I do for you, sometimes in this deck here, you get the Wedge card. This is the Ant card. It's not the Wedge card, but sometimes you get the Wedge card. So I would be careful if someone's trying to come between you and another person. And you have this Discovery card. Yeah, I think everything for you is out in the world. Like everything is going to come from exploring. Two of Wands, getting out of comfort zones, meeting new people, doing new things. That's where the best opportunities are going to come from for you. But this is a really powerful reading here, Taurus. Big changes for you. So love it. But thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.